If you're very observant, there's a chance you've noticed that lots of fighter jets have fire coming out of the jet engines. That is a feature called reheat, or afterburner if you live on the wrong side of the pond. And what that is fuel being injected behind the main combustion area of the jet engine and burned, which will usually increase the thrust of a jet engine by at least 50%, whilst massively increasing the fuel consumption. So if you need a lot of power for a short amount of time, for instance on takeoff, then reheat can be used. But that's not possible on some fighters. There we go. For instance, we have the Sea Harrier, and if I get a bit closer and focus it, there we go, that seems in focus. There's no... is it? Yeah. You can't have reheat on a Harrier because the exhausts are here, like that. And that's so that you can vector them downwards and do vertical takeoff and hovering, all that sort of thing. Vertical landing. And so you can't fit the extra bits on the end that you need in order to have reheat. So the power that the engine inside the Sea Harrier is able to produce is limited by the quantity of fuel that you can burn every second, every minute, you know, fuel burnt per unit time. And so if you want to increase the power, you just increase the amount of fuel that you burn. But there is a catch, which is there is a limit to how much fuel you can burn at once, which is actually if you start burning too much fuel, you'll melt the inside of the engine. So to get around this, they had a feature called water injection, which is where they would inject water into the engine, and that would help to cool down the turbine blades, and so you could burn more fuel without melting the inside of your engine. So Harriers would carry water on them that they could inject into the engine to get more power, not only because they could then burn more fuel, but also that water is coming out of the exhaust as well, meaning that you have greater mass coming out the back of the jet, and so you've got more thrust. So that's really cool. Rolls-Royce Pegasus engines had water injection to allow them to have more thrust.